This is the game of a god. And I know that's a bit cocky, but yeah, it's the game of the gods. Why is it the game of the gods? Well, I'll explain right now. This is part of the survival horror mechanics that I've got in my survival horror mega game. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does this match up with a set of playing cards? It doesn't, because it's sort of, this is how the gods play their games, basically. So there are, before we go any further, 7 colours, 7 gods. The values on them don't really matter. I was using the dice to sort of set up a mid-game sort of situation. And these dice here are for randomising and choosing. I'll explain why I'm randomising in this case in a few minutes later on. So, how does this fit in with the game itself? Well, there's a bit of a cycle in this game. The first thing you have to be aware of is that the gods can not leave their realm. They have to rely on a series of messengers who has abilities that can do things on Earth, which then makes people either scared of them enough to make them pray for them. When the prayer comes back, it basically creates this cycle. So why is this cycle important? Well, when you pray at a circle, you can choose to, instead of taking the full amount of fade, you can put, well, fade is the currency of the game, basically, for the players. They can put a fade into the god's box. That fade's then taken by messengers. They have to go back and forth with it. There's nobody doing that for them at all. The messengers have to take the boxes back and forth and give them to the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper then goes, oh, another day, another bunch of fade idiots. Why am I doing this job? I'm not kidding, by the way. I'm really making a grumpy gatekeeper. But you know what I mean. And basically, they take the fade out. Now, the key thing about fade is that on its own, it's not worth much. But once a god has a certain number of fade, they can use this wheel. Now, I've no fade in the game, so I'm going to do a randomizer. Highest value will win. And if there's a tie, all of them get to do it. So let's just do a quick roll up. Okay, so we have a single 6, which means that black would go first. So, black, what's its situation? Well, the rule is that you can only touch spaces with your own colours, either here or there. Now, just to show you the grid, the inner circle is basically called the God's Wheel. The outer elements are called the Ascended. Now, the thing you need to know about this is that Ascended don't move until you have activated the location. So, let's just look around the board. So we can activate here, here, or here. Now, if he activates here, right, if he activates here, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, okay. So, there's nothing you can really do in any special power plays, but he could do a setup. And I think actually we might demonstrate a setup. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, this is good. He can't set up this turn, but what he could do is go 1. There's a bit of thinking to this, basically. But so I'll give you an example. He takes everything from one space and basically takes it around the board. He doesn't want to set... So what he'd probably do is this one, because he'd go 1. He'd probably put a blue there, a red there. White could probably put safely there because there's nothing there. And he'd probably put the black there. So, at that point, it triggers this space. The idea is that every chip that's on this location gives each god 1 reach per messenger. Each god has 2 messengers. They are sharing each messenger with another god. So black might have a messenger that does blue, but he also has a messenger that does green and black as well. So that sort of creates a bit of a weird loop, basically. And it always means that the messengers are conflicted. They have to balance the decisions of the 2 gods in question. So in this case, black would get 1, and purple would get 1 for their messengers. Now, there's 2 options now. I'm going to demonstrate the second I'm going to demonstrate the first option because it's the easiest one. And that is when they get enough power, they can take a second action and they can go 1, 2. Now, again, you score on the second location as well. So in this case, black would score 2 and green would score 1. But these two here cause a bit more problems as well. These count as 1 for the dice, and if they're ascended, an additional 3. So in reality, green would have 4, black would have 5. And that makes it a pretty powerful mix to play with. So let's choose a different character. I won't roll black again to make it fair. Green goes this time. So green, well, he's already got that ability. Green's not going. So he might as well do a setup, actually. He might do a setup action. That's 7, so that means that's going to be pretty difficult to clear out. But what it could do is set up for the next stage. So yeah, it's pretty much a safe bet. I mean, you might have made a deal with white, actually, to get him a spare point. So let's do that. Let's put... We know that we're going to put the green there. And then we just start going round. So we go from there, we go black there, red there, just to be douchebag. Don't want to put yellow there, because purple's probably the better option in this case. Oh, we're going to leave white, actually. White's going to... So we might as well put purple there. Here's 2 There's yellow there. He's leaving his green there. And he puts the white there, so white would immediately get 1 point. Let's put the green there, etc. The second action you can do instead of doing a second pickup is to put into Ascendancy. Now, Ascendancy is taking one of the dice from one of the spaces and moving it up the tree. Now, in this case, you've got 2 options. You got to do one here, or you could do one here. So, I think it's better to do one here and hope it's a build-up. Actually, let's do a count. That one wouldn't trigger. That one wouldn't trigger. That one, 1, 2, 3, that wouldn't trigger. That one wouldn't trigger as well. That one might. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that one would be the one that triggers. So I'd probably, as part of the strategy, would set that one there and make that ascend that one there. So let's do one last demonstration. Now that we know what both the mechanics are, we'll do another draw of what we got. White 5. Okay. So, what he'd probably do is actually probably take his white there and move it to there. He'd get 3 of them, and everybody else would get 1 that's on that space. Blue would also get 4 though, because obviously an additional 4, so that's 5. But as you know, it goes to the center. Now, he could choose to ascend if he wants to, or he could choose a second action. Now, the key thing you need to be aware of is that you don't have to ascend your own tokens. You can ascend somebody else's as part of a deal. It's basically, you can make any deal you want, basically. The key thing is one item has to be moved from the centerpiece to ascend to the top. And it can only be on spaces you're already at. But I think in this case, there's 3 there. That's going to make a bit of a conflict of interest. You really want them separated. So, it would actually end back in the same spot. So we put 1 there. So actually, the advantage is you can actually cycle them out basically however you want to. And you can actually sort of put them in place. And... no, blue's an ally, so let's just leave it. And then they all go back on. And because blue's the last spot, blue would get an extra reach. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. And that's it. Pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. That is the God Circle.